Welcome to the Fairhaven Homes match of the round on a glorious Saturday afternoon, brought to you by Totally Workwear with the new store in Pakenham, previously planted stores in Warrigal, Traralgon and Wonthaggi. It's been a chaotic few weeks for either side, but today Goon, who were 7-0 before dropping 3 of their last 5 games, will look to beat Bunyip, who have been victors in just 1 of their previous 5 games as well. Hoping to secure a win as we near the final month before the finals. They'll need to put on a show today, and to observe and call alongside me is none other than Bailey Allen. Welcome, Bailey. It's been a few weeks, but it's nice to have the band back together. Which way will this game swing?
You'd think Goon, they've been through a bit of a tough stretch, but they're sitting comfortably on the ladder at the moment. And as Bunyip as well, they've been on a bit of a tough road. So you'd think you'd go Goon, but the Rezzies, the game was thrilling. It's a 2-point win to Goon, so I'm hoping we see a lot more like that in the seniors, and it should be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, tight finish. Just to let you know, so it was Goon in the Rezzies who defeated Bunyip by 2 behinds. Bunyip had a shot with about 30 seconds to play, and it just faded to the right. But a bit to talk about in our pre-game show. The last time these two sides played was in the opening round, and Goon were 5-point victors. So close matches everywhere. Hopefully we can get the same sort of spectacle today, but it was 8-11-59 to 8-6-54, and Troy McDermott, who was Goon's leading goal scorer last year, led the charge with 3 goals. Jackson Dalton for Bunyip was also their leading goal scorer last year. He had 3 of his own, as we can see Goon just trotting on the field now. But best players were Anthony Young, who's playing today for Goon, and Dylan Quirk, alongside his brother Ryan Quirk, were the 2 best players for Bunyip. But as we mentioned, Goon, they were 7-0, and they've dropped 3 of their last 5 to Phillip Island, Tooradin, Dalmore and Inverloch Kongwak, who are all respectable opponents.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too upset with those losses at all. Obviously, you go out there to get the chockies each day, but, you know, the Inverloch Kongwak, your Tooradin Dalmores, they're really good sides, especially Tooradin yet to drop a game. So you can't be too upset if you're from the Goon, but you're looking to bounce back today against a Bunyip side who are desperate for a finals position now, and you'd say that a loss today probably just puts them out of range.
Yeah, well, a gallant loss last week against Coralin. They fell short by 15 points, and the week before they actually defeated Daleston by 51, and then they also lost to Phillip Island, Kilcunda Bass, which was a little surprising, and Tooradin Dalmore as well. It's just those sides, the Tooradin Dalmores, the Phillip Islands, that are just holding their weight in the top half of the ladder. 4 minutes until the expected starting time. And who are you keeping an eye on today, Bass?
Well, I know JJ Penny is a pretty good talent for Goon. He played in 2 international cups for Papua New Guinea. He won a cup against Ireland in 2014, and then he won another against New Zealand in 2017. And the AFL, they've caught off a couple international cups now due to COVID, but they did announce around about a year ago now that it will be remaking its return in 2023. So hopefully we'll see JJ Penny out there, but I'm looking forward to see him. And even Brent Hughes for Bunyip as well. He's been lined up as a key back, but we all know about that 2013 season where he kicked 109 goals coming off that 2012 flag and before the 2013 grand final defeat against Garfield. So those are some players to keep an eye out on today.
And also William Papley for Bunyip, someone to keep an eye on.
Of course.
The brother of Tom, who plays for the Sydney Swans, played in their win against the Western Bulldogs last night. And a few other stars we know of, the leading goal kicker for each side, and Mitchell Homfrey's been in good form. Trent Armour, he was one of their better players last year as well. Plenty to watch out for. Now, I know you mentioned Goon should take the win away today, but we've seen Bunyip, they've performed well against Coralin last week, earlier in the year against quality opponents, and with a win on the cards, well, they need to win. I just feel like there might be some sort of energy that can catapult them up to a win. We'll see how they come out of the huddle and into the opening bounce, Baz.
Well, yeah, this crowd, just even during the Rezzies game, it was electric. It was really loud down here at Bunyip, and I was loving the energy. And just elaborating further on last week, I called a couple of weeks back Coralline versus the Dusties, and Coralline moved the ball really quickly. They're a hard team to defend when they're on top of their game. So for Bunyip to only go down by 15 or so points to a quality side, you wouldn't be too upset with that, and you'd have a bit of confidence coming in, say, against Goon, who've probably fared a little bit better than Coralline, but still, I get where you're coming from, Dill. I reckon there would be huge amounts of confidence at home here for Bunyip today.
And a real muddy surface. We can see, even in the last game as well, of the Rezzies, plenty of players are just slipping over. There's not a lot of traction, especially in these forward half areas, even in the middle of the ground. But I was told the ground was in quality condition before today, and the rain hit heavy overnight, and as a result, you can see the mud.
Yeah, it just looks brown all over. It's no good. And yeah, there seems to be a couple of divots all over the field as well. Of course, you've got the Rezzies as well, but yeah, field conditions are not all that good today, so you might see a lot of slipping over in messy football. So it could be a low-scoring affair, but 60. What was it in the end, Dill? I think it was 66 to 64 in the reserves game. So, which isn't the lowest scoring affair. So we could still see some great footy played.
Not long now before the opening quarter. As you mentioned, huge crowd. The facilities over to the left of us seem to be quite crowded.
Yeah, as I said to you before, Dill, off air, for a place that is pretty tucked away, they've got some nice facilities down here at Bunyip. Even their soccer club, I think it was the Bunyip Bulls, they've got some very nice pitches down there for soccer. And then, yeah, they've got some good structures going around here, so I'm quite impressed.
And back in round one, when these two sides faced off in a 5-point game, as we could just see they're almost forming a guard of honour for both the sides to run out. But Goon led at every change, and it was quite tight. They led by 3 points at quarter time, 5 points at half time, 11 at three-quarter time, and then 5 at full time. And it was just 2 goals straight to 1 straight in the last quarter. So a low-scoring affair. We might see a similar sort of trend today, but a delayed start from the usual 2 p.m. Obviously corresponding with the Rezzies game, which concluded at about 1:54. But Goon off the back of one win against Garfield last week by 98 points. In fact, 2 weeks ago, there was a bye last week. And they lost to Inverloch Congwack by 20 points, Tooradin Delmore by 32, defeated Corumbarabina by 124 points, and then lost to Phillip Island by 33. So it's the same sort of margin against all those upper tier and upper echelon sides in between the 20 to 35 quartile. It's today, Bunyip, who are at the moment sitting at 7th on the ladder, 5-7 is their record. They'll need to get off to a hot start just because some of those middle sides are quite unpredictable. Yeah,
well, even Goon, we know their potential as well. They made a prelim in 2018. They were ever so close, but they lost to Kuiyup in the prelim, and then the D's in that infamous grand final went down by 99 points to Phillip Islands. But we know the potential of this Goon side, so they should come up and get the chockies today. But as you say, the middling teams are quite unpredictable, like your Corallins, and I know they're in the finals picture at the moment, but even the Warrigal Industrials, Bunyip, they're quite hard teams to read.
8-3 last year, Goon. In 2019, they finished 7th with a record of 10-8. They were 4th last year. They had 4 Team of the Year selections also last year, one of them being Troy McDermott, their leading goal kicker with 33, and he was 3rd in the competition. And Bunyip in 2019 finished 6th with a record of 11-7, but last year they were 4-7. Yeah, well, dropping off with the form. 5-7 this year, so already one more win. They had the 1 Team of the Year selection, their last senior premiership in 2012, so it's been a decade. They'll look to return to the finals. They only sit a couple of spots out of it, but it is 2 wins in between them and 5th place.
And yeah, Bunyip, the success has been a bit hard to come by in recent years. The highest finish they've had, as you said, Dill, was 6th in 2019 with a record of 11-7. But in the early 2010s, they were quite a proud club. Made the grand final in 2012 and won it, and then the next year they lost to Garfield.
Some sort of smoke on the ground in the midst of that. Big guard of honour. Not too sure what's holding up the start.
It's what you'll find it will be NAIDOC week. So they'll just be doing a ceremony to represent the First Nations of the country.
Of course.
It's been going on across a couple of the leagues across Australia. And I know NBL 1, the basketball league that I commentate, they've had some special jerseys designed for NAIDOC week. So I reckon that's what you'd find with this smoke ceremony.
Yep. Just watching it now, quite a fascinating tradition.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long to a start now, though.
No. Both sides have that X factor. Who will it be for either side, really? You did mention before, Jeconiah Penny. Could he be the spark today?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned before, he's clearly talented enough to make Papua New Guinea's national side. But you've also got guys on Bunyip like your Will Papley and the man that's usually handling the stream, Kyle Pova. He was talking to me a couple of weeks ago when I was down at Coralin, and he mentioned that Will Papley plays exactly like his brother. Acts exactly like him as well, with the overtop celebrations and whatnot, and he's a little goal sneak.
Similar mannerisms.
Yeah. Well, his brother had a great game last night. Not sure if I can't remember if he kicked 2 straight. I don't think he did, but he had a lot of goal assists, or maybe it was score involvements, but it was a nice little bounce back from the week before where he just couldn't kick straight against the Bombers. I mean, I wasn't complaining. I'm a Bombers man, so. But
now the umpire's heading out. Both sides in their huddle. Nearly ready to go. And they'll clear out the pitch now. So what's the approach of Nana Goon, do you think, going into this? 9-3. They've lost 3 of their previous 5 games. Now they play a middle of the ladder side who they haven't faced in the previous 5 weeks. They've played Corumbarabina and Garfield, and then the 4 of the top 5, or rather 3 of the top 5 sides. So what would you say their preparation has been as well, Baz?
I mean, I don't think it'd be any different. They'd go into this game, it's just another game, but yeah, you'd be looking for, of course, for a similar result to the Garfield game before. That was an absolute domination. Of course, Bunyip are a much more quality opponent, but you'd want to go sort of the slow kick-to-kick footy, I'd suggest today. You wouldn't want to try go too fast in the mud because you'll be slipping over a lot.
And Bunyip?
And Bunyip, well, they're just going to show an enormous fight. Their season's on the line here today. They've only got a month to try and get a couple of wins on the board and push themselves into the finals race. And if a loss is to occur today, then you'd probably put a line through them. Because they're 2 games outside. I did say the 8, I meant the 6, by the way. They're 2 games outside at the moment, out of the finals picture. So, yeah, it's a lot on the line for Bunyip. And as for Nana Goon, just trying to more so get their season back on track after a couple tough losses against some quality sides. But I think we're finally starting to get underway here, Dill.
Yep. 2:08 here. Bunyip, Recreation Reserve. 4th versus 7th. 4 games between the sides. And Bunyip, they looked to be well prepared. They were pretty energetic in the huddle before. Nana Goon had more of a steady, calm approach. And we're just waiting for the green light as the umpire has the footy on the ground.
Yeah, you could tell Bunyip were excited. I was down at the other end of the ground. You could still hear the doofs from the speaker in the locker rooms of Bunyip. So, yeah, I reckon they'll come out raging here, the Bulldogs. But it's just going to have to see whether they can keep that consistency up till.
Which might also elevate them. Bailey Allen to get you underway.
So, ruck tapped out by Jenkin of the Bulldogs. Crunch to the floor. JJ Penny was lurking. So, ball just sitting around in the middle at the moment in the muddy conditions. Was called no mark on the mark there by Chris Thuring. He caught the ball. And then you've got Dylan Quirk trying to push it forward. It was almost a mark taken. Players tumbling around for the ball in the muddy conditions. As we mentioned before, it's going to be hard to find a clean kick of the footy. So that's a mark there by Mitchell Homrate. He goes back, centres it. And that's a strong mark taken inside 50. Was almost ready to touch the ground. Just trying to get a look of who that is. And it is Aaron Paxton of the Bunyip Bulldogs. Dill.
Yeah, Aaron Paxton to get them underway. He's about 40 metres out from goal. Have to give it a fair heave from here, but the drop looked nice and the kick was even better. And there's the start that the Bulldogs would love to see. They kicked the first just over a minute in on the Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
Yeah, and apologies I didn't get the name straight away. Didn't have the binoculars out, but I've got them now. And yeah, Aaron Paxton, he's a pivotal member of this side for Bunyip. It's his first year back playing at Bunyip after a short stint at coaching with Longwarry. And it's good to see him back out in the red, white and blue.
They lead it by 6 points, just under 2 minutes in as the ruckman collide in the air again, and it's tapped down and sharked. And on the left, just a scrambled ball about 30 metres ahead. Penny entered the scene, left it without the football. They all crash at ground level. And we'll have another ball up, just forward of the centre, heading towards Bunyip's 50. Tall throw up again. Maybe taken high in the ruck, and he was. And again, they'll have a chance to have a repeat inside 50. Right to the teeth of goal. Bashed out of there. Still alive, so sliding in for Bunyip again. Their midfielders work. They might have a shot at goal. They do. A check side from out of the pack. But it was unsuccessful and through for a minor score.
And that was a good find from Papley there. It was a good use of the hands, and he found a suitor in Connor Steele, but if that was me, I probably would have taken the drop punt there, but the check side wasn't a terrible idea. Probably just didn't get enough on it in the end.
From fullback, Nana Goon, all their players forming together at the wing. In the end, there was 2 that competed in the air against the sole Bulldog, and now we'll have another dispute and a ball up. Operations put to a halt, but the quick start that Bailey Allen mentioned for Bunyip. 2 scoring shots. Nana Goon yet to enter their inside 50. A hand pass away from Quirk to the outer side where the ball still tumbles around and then it's licked up by hand. Quirk slaps it, as did his teammates. Now to right half forward. Strong tackle laid and they flick it out the back hatch. Might have a shot at goal, but it was abruptly put to an end, and we'll have another ball up about 20 out from the Bulldogs' goal.
And Bunyip have just start off this game have been much more furious around the contested footy. Whereas Nana Goon, they're not really attacking the Sharon at all. They've been pretty complacent to start off. So, yeah, Bunyip start off well, and a free kick is paid here. So you're now looking at Dylan Quirk to have a set shot on a slight angle. There's not much wind here today, so Of course, the ground conditions aren't looking fantastic, but no wind in sight. Slight angle for the doggy's second, and he's hit the post.
Right at the top.
Was looking good for the former Sandringham Dragon, but just couldn't get across the line in the end and hits the left post. So now Goon, what do they do from here? Bet you they didn't really expect this start. So they move.
Motivated by the crowd, maybe?
Yeah. Well, as I said in our pre-game show, that Bunyip would be flaring to go with their season on the line. Down on the wing. Oh, almost a great grab taken there by Trent Noy. Couldn't get there in the end. So he kicks it out further and finds a man in Troy McDermott. Mark drops there. He's outnumbered here, the Goon. And falling over the line was Dermot Yorney. And there's a bit of a scuffle here. Pulls the jersey off. And the Bunyip boy getting into him.
I'll resume play, but Dermot Yorney, definitely one of their more prolific players, so they'll need him to be active around this contest. But Bunyip exit with the footy again. Quick hands from Jenkin out to Morgan Morris. And to the wing again. An open man in steel just dropped the mark. The numbers at ground level with the Bulldogs. And now they finally surround the footy for a ball up.
Yeah, so that puts a bit of flair into this game. The little boundary line tussle between the Bunyip Bulldog and Dermot Yorney. They'll be targeting him all day as he's one of their more talented players for the Goon.
Slapped out of bounds again. Boundary throw in, centre wing. Just hitting the 6-minute mark. Bunyip hold an 8-0 lead.
So I'm loving the start we've had at the moment. Was almost punched out by Ruckman, but he was beat by his opponent. And it goes back over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Bit of a stalemate after the fierce start by Bunyip.
Yeah, well, Goon, they were moving with intent down into forward 50, and it looks good, and then Dermot Yorney just couldn't get the double team off him. So karate kick. Won't go the 15. Ball flicked up by a Gooner. Slips over, there you go. We were talking about the muddy conditions today, and that's a prime example as a Bulldog there hits the deck.
Another ball in. 60 out from Goon's goal. They've just had the one entry and immediately attacking it with pace, and now that chain up their hands. Armour inside 50, and there is that man Yorney.
Yes, of course, Dermot Yorney.
He's not afraid to let his opponent know.
Had a bag of 7 against Garfield last week, Dill.
Sure did. He had 9 earlier in the year, back in round 2. Another 8. So he's definitely accustomed to kicking big hauls of goals, and to get Goon on the scoreboard for the first time today, well, he does, but only a minor score. 1-2-8 to the soul behind for Goon. It's Bunyip by 7 over 7.5 minutes in on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
So kick out by Brent Hughes. He used to be a forward, but now he's in the back line. Was counted as not a mark, so Bunyip just going to have to move forward with pace. Could have been pushing the back there, I reckon. Spun around in the tackle. Ball moving further out towards the wing. Some spoils occurring here. No one can really get a clean look at the footy at the moment. It's intercepted by a Gooner. Players slipping over the mud, and a free kick paid against Bunyip going the way of Goon. So they'll be looking for another good inside 50 entry. They found Yorney on the previous possession. Body hit the deck, spins around, goes on the left, looking for a man up forward, and he gets him. And that's Trent Noy up forward, who nearly took an absolute screamer a couple minutes ago. He has a key position forward, but doesn't have the confidence to go back. That's not a bad look, though. Probably went out the legs. Oh, never mind. It's reached through. All clear is given, and Goon get their first major of the day. What a kick by Trent Noy, the full forward.
Well, he almost deceived the forwards who were leading up. It looked like he was going to whip it in. And
he didn't look confident at all, did he, Dill?
No. in the end, it's their first major and well-deserved. Booming strike from Trent Noy, who's been with Nana Goon since 2016. Played 1 year in Beaconsfield before it. And now they resume hostilities in the middle. Almost kicked off the deck for Nana Goon, and again emerging from the pack. Looping hand pass over the top to a vacant man who slipped as he kicked it and then managed to escape with a hand pass, but only to his own detriment because Bunyip stole the ball away. But it's a ball up about 30 out from their goal.
This is what I was talking about, Bunyip. They had a really good start, but they just need to keep up that consistency now. Nana Goon entering inside 52 easily is a high free kick. Will be paid in the way of Nana Goon to take.
Homfray.
A set shot is, yeah, Matthew Homfray, who played for the Stingrays in NAB League. Well, I guess back then was the TAC Cup in 2014 and was also a part of Frankston's VFL development side for a little bit as well.
Has been forced to relocate a couple of times. Just his first year with Nana Goon. Played with Mulgrave, Beaconsfield and previously Noble Park. And as Baz mentioned, he has experience in the NAB League and the VFL. Just misses to the right that time, but he ties up the score 1-2-8 apiece over 10.5 minutes in.
And we'll have a kick in now by Brent Hughes. As I mentioned before, he kicked 107 in 2013 for Bunyip. And that was a year before I believe he moved to Beaconsfield. And then he came back shortly to Bunyip the year after. So kicking across the face, right back where they started in Hughes. And now move forward. Oh, plays. That was a falcon and a half. Penny. Oh, just lays a bump. How is that? The intensity. The hunger. Back inside 50, but no forwards present. So it'll be going back in the way of the Bulldogs. Papley. Out of his natural habitat. What a good kick. Centers it in the middle of the field there. Nathan Allen pushes it forward. That's a nice strong grab there. Smothered well though. Didn't run off the mark. So now they can come down again, the Goon, but they might be open. They find an open man out on the wing. Will they play on or take their time? Seems to be the latter. Goes out on the left, little stabbing kick. One hand grab there by Trent Noy, who kicked a goal. The Goon's only goal. Inside 50 again. Once again looking for Homfray. Couldn't find him in the end. But now they've got him wide open. Unselfish. They eventually got it. Oh, he's missed out in front and he's hit the post, Troy McDermott. How have you done that? Trying to go the snap and he's hit the woodwork.
And now Hughes from fullback, an expedite movement. He has McLeod in defence, who was being pressed by his opponent in Homfray. Slipping as he kicked it. Definitely affected the execution. And now they'll look to repel. One hand mark. McDermott putting it back inside. And Armour has it about 40-45 out from goal.
Yep. Bit of redemption there after a really poor kick there, wasn't it, Dill?
Yeah, well, a little unlucky. Oh, you mean the kick at goal?
Yeah,
McDermott.
Directly in front.
Trent Armour, he's played for the Casey Demons, been here since 2018. He's given that a fair strike. And again, he misses to the right.
So it's a bit of inaccuracy early to start off this game. Here's Papley, the brother of Tom, played for Gippy Power last year. So looks like Nana Goon will get to it first, but not before they're pressurised by the Bulldogs. Turnover occurs. Now Quirk just kicks it into space. Penny was trying to sprint for the footy, but the mud prevented him from getting a clean look. Ball just getting ever so close towards the boundary line. And then it will be Cooper Purcell to carry it over.
Under 14 minutes in, Nana Goon by 2 points. They did trail 8-0. So they've had 5 successive scoring shots, but just the one goal, and plenty of them have been gettable. And a free kick has been pinned out. in the way of Bunyip. So Papley assessing what's ahead, runs off his line, drills it inside 50, needs some strong presentation, and he gets it in the form of his reliable full forward, who should have a shot about 20 metres out. I think it's Aaron Paxton again who kicked there first.
What a great one-on-one contest there. Paxton is a bigger boy and just able to use the hands to push him off.
Quick step into goal, but he's just mishit it. And off to the right for a minor score. And again, that theme of inaccuracy continues to appear from fullback Nana Goon.
Yeah, he's a big boy, Paxton. He's sort of like a Nick Cox from Essendon. He really athletic but tall as well, so he could probably play midfield if you put him there. He won a flag at Sorrento and was also Coringle's captain for some time.
Working its way to the back of the pack. And we'll have another throw in at the centre wing position. And the ruckman jewel it out. Strong body use, but then dropped by Trigg. And it allowed access for Bunyip, who put it high up in the air to half forward. Another one-on-one contest. Spills to ground and run out by Bedio.
Yeah, it's been some inaccuracy to start off, but it's been a good game, hasn't it, Dill? Been really even, I reckon.
It's been quite fluid as well. We had a couple of stoppages early on, but as you can see now, another chain of handballs, that time digging it out of the pack. Works its way back in and finally again out. It's loose for a moment and Thuring was unable to pick it up, and as a result, Penny snaffled it away. Kick to centre half forward. Yorney entering the frame and he can bombard the defence. He has numbers moving forward. He sweeps on the right out wide. The mark is taken.
I'm not sure about the choice in Yorney there. He had to look directly in front, but decided to go out to the right for a harder angle. Nonetheless, they'll kick it up forward. Ball's loose. That's looking good. Right through the big sticks.
Humphrey.
For Mitchell Humphrey. And that was a really good look. And Nana Goon getting another goal on the board. So it was a great crumb there by Mitchell Humphrey, who was playing a bit of a small forward role there. And now Nana Goon lead by 7 points. I just want to point out that the kick from Penny and the lead from Yorney was just brilliant. It was a really slammed on the boot there, PJ Penny. And then Yorney, he had to run a fair way, but he got there in the end and set up a goal for the Goon. Deal.
7 point lead has opened up for Nana Goon. Over 17 minutes in on the Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. Hustling forward now at the footy. And a kick just out of there by O'Sullivan. It's juggled in the end by Humphrey, who just kicked that goal. And now he'll settle. Kick inside, 50 to full forward. Yorney almost able to pluck it out of midair. A forward hand pass and taken high for Nana Goon was Anthony Young, who's about 30 metres out. Not a harsh angle, so he should slot it right in front, playing against his former side. Played for Bunyip from 2017 to 2018, and he was best on ground the last time these two sides played. And again, off to the right. There's something about that right side, Bailey Allen.
Yeah, Nana Goon could have really been in front by a fair bit at this point, but just been missing their opportunities and not stretching the lead out at all, just allowing Bunyip to contest well within this first quarter, but Bunyip really need to push it further forward. Oh, almost a great grab taken there. Perhaps a little bit unrealistic there by the Bulldog, almost pushing the back. Umpire ignores it, getting close to the boundary line. Should be a stoppage. Umpire calls my ball.
He used his opponent as a launch pad there, didn't he?
Yeah, probably just set off at a low angle there, but it wasn't a bad decision whatsoever. So Jenkin in the ruck, tries to find Papley, spills out. Now Penny, he's been really active early. Bit of an awkward look at the kick, but it was Humphrey who found it in the end, who then centres it, finds an option. And now that he can go on a slight angle, and he's about 40 or so out. So now the Goon looking to extend their leg. Oh, slips over in the kick, won't have the legs. Can they take a good mark? Might need another crumb here. Bulldogs lurking in the back line. They worked hard for it. Brent Hughes out of full back, and he stood tall, and for what almost looked like a certain goal, they've stopped it, the Bunyip Bulldogs, before it's intercepted nicely by Troy McDermott. And now he can make up for a poor miss before and have a good look on goal.
Yeah, they were eager to transfer Troy McDermott after his 2017 season for Beaconsfield, where he kicked 54 goals in 17 games, and he's been at the Goon ever since. An 8-point lead and potentially a 14-point lead beckons as he leans in towards goal and hammers it home. 3-5-23 to 139, and Nana Goon respond with 8 scoring shots. A little inaccurate, but they have a 14-point lead. Just under 20 minutes in, rather over 20 and a half minutes in to the first quarter.
And the choice by Bunyip to find that centre and kick, it wasn't terrible, but just the read from McDermott was even better. Just swept in right through and picked it off, and an even better set shot as well. So Troy McDermott, he's had a pretty good start up there in the forward line.
And again, the ruckman to do it one more time. Punched forward, a little bit of leverage on it. And a scrap. Ball in dispute. Finally taken away by Quirk. Out to the wing. It was broken up in the air. And now the Goon can proceed. And they do. An offer, and it bounced obligingly for Armour. Gave it off to a teammate in crime, and he receives it back again. Now puts it to the hot spot where plenty of action has occurred. And the mark taken by Yorney again.
And Yorney, he's been active to start off this game. Hughes hasn't really been able to take much account of him. And you cannot let this man get hot, because he had 7 against Garfield last week. He had 8 against Currumbura earlier on in the season. He had 9 against Kui Rupp. So he's a dangerous key forward, this man. He's hit that well, but will just go off once again to the left.
15 points to lead for Bunyip, who are under a bit of duress ever since the opening minutes, and just pleading for it, quite literally screaming for it. Was O'Halloran to the left, and Seth Allen took it upon himself to dish it out to the half back flank. Returning it will be Purcell, so he's got the lead forward from McDermott. Double backing to the square is Noy. Yorney is still there loitering, and he drills it in that direction. Yorney might have to sit here. A couple of defenders in the air against him. At ground level, trying to farm it out was Young. And the whistle blows. 20 out from goal.
That was a good mark there just before from Purcell. Going against the traffic, he's been outstanding in the reserves. Just needs to find a bit more consistency in the seniors.
And in the ruck, big slap forward. And that's a perilous kick, because they're still flirting with danger. Kelly taken high. And he'll have a shot at goal. Now, Dean Kelly, who was actually not on the team list sheet, is a late in. Harsh angle for a right footer. Definitely the non-preferred side. 114 games, 75 goals. His third year with the Goon. For seniors, played 4 years as a junior and then moved to Doveton. They were happy to bring him back. He's just missed that one again off to the right. So a 16-point lead. 3-7 to 1-3 on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
It's just the same result almost every play. 7 behinds in a quarter is just simply not good enough for Nana Goon. This game could have been over already. And I think the Bunyip mids and the forward line have been good, but the back line really needs to step up here. They're choosing a couple silly options, and they're not putting enough pressure on Nana Goon's forwards to cause a turnover as it re-enters inside 50 again. Yorney almost took a good grab, but he'll get the free kick here. So now Yorney can once again look to go back.
51 goals through 11 games this year. He's averaging 4.6 per game. He's quite loud with the presence, making a name for himself. 40 metres out. Distance is not a worry. Accuracy would be the only factor that affects him, but it doesn't that time. And Nana Goon have their 4th on the board.
He's a booming kick of the footy, is Dermot Yorney. Came over to the Goon from Pakenham last year and has simply been brilliant. Before today, he had 51 goals for the season, and he has just blossomed into one of West Gippsland's finest key forwards.
Well, Bunyip, they were off to a quick start. What's precipitated this comeback, do you think, for the Goon?
I think Bunyip have just let the throttle off a little bit. No, Goon, they're not playing that much different. I suppose they've been a bit cleaner with the footy, but they're not playing awfully different to how they were just moments ago. So they'll push it out towards the wing, and it'll be Kelly, who missed before on a set shot, and there was 4 against 1, but they had the numbers back. The Goon pushed away, tried to find the boundary line, and was tossed aside.
And a free kick going to the Bulldogs in the form of Mitchell Sproles. Sproles, left half back to the wing now. Almost taken by Homfrey after the kick to the throng, but strong aerial presence in the air from McDermott, who switches through the corridor and now linking up by hand. This is beautiful ball movements to centre half forward and Purcell.
And I reckon that's just about the best mark we've seen all day. Purcell stretched out the arms all the way, was pushed in the back as well, and was still able to bring it down.
We've had 2 nearly speckies, and Cooper Purcell is 50 out from goal. He lays it to the top of the square. Yorney had the sit, and he was concealed by a few defenders. Smith maintaining possession, just ensuring it didn't escape. It did, only briefly. A ball up about 25 out from goal.
And Purcell has such great potential. He was the 4th leading goal kicker in 2019. Won a B&F that year as well.
Probably need to regroup here at quarter time, you'd think, Bunyip. 27 minutes in. Siren can't be too far away. There's just been the 5 goals this quarter. Plenty of behinds. Tracking it down and not afraid to run out of bounds. Paxton, as the siren sounds, and that man Paxton has kicked Bunyip's only goal, but Nana Goon, they've retaliated. Homfrey has kicked a goal. Noyes kicked a goal. They've had impressive individual efforts. They hold a 22-point lead at quarter time. It's 4-7-31 to Bunyip's 1-3-9. We'll take a quick break. We'll see how they can emerge out of the quarter break as they'll kick to your right of screen. We'll be right back with you in a moment.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. And it's feeling like I'm in the groove. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the groove. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the groove. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the groove. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
Back at Bunyip after the first quarter, it is Goon who hold a 22-point lead, 4-7-31 to 139. They started off well, Bunyip, and Nana Goon, they had goals through the agency of Yorney, who kicked 2. Noi with the goal of the day so far. Definitely a contender overall, barring another decent roost from outside 50 or some brilliance from an individual, and Mitchell Homfrey kicked a goal as well. Bailey Allen, what have you liked so far as we're almost underway for the resumption?
I've liked how Nana Goon have and their consistent inside 50 entries. It's just their accuracy that's made this game a bit closer than it should be, but their repeat inside 50 entries and the pressure by their forwards has been quite impressive, actually. So,
second quarter is underway. 22 points. Nana Goon lead it by a big slap forward. Remained ajar for a moment and now picked up by Bunyip to the half-forward flank. Nice mark by McMillan, who can turn around and look upfield. He's got plenty of leads, and he'll just put it to the right. Probably miscued the kick in the end. Strong defence by Blackwood. It was taken away by Gallish. And they can regress now. Back to half-forward and a little beyond. Looping hand pass to Allen, who has 2 teammates either side, but he chose the pocket in the end, which was a little interesting, and a ball up.
wasn't a terrible kick from Allen, but yeah, to go that tight to the boundary in these sort of conditions, not a great decision. So ball to be thrown in from the invisible boundary line. Allen stretched out the body, tried to get a hand on the footy, but instead it spilled out through Kyle O'Sullivan, who just watched it go over the boundary line. So pretty much exact same position, just a little further out, about maybe 20 metres or so further down the field.
Right in front of us.
Exactly right. Jenkin and Homfrey in the ruck. Danger looming for Nana Goon as the pressure by Bunyip's forwards has been quite good. And it was a nice exit there as Homfrey collected the mark, and that was even better. That could be a contender for mark of the day there from Brad Homfrey. Kicks it towards their forward 50. Eventually get a clean look at it. Just has to snap towards full forward, but it's intercepted in the end.
Last line of defence for Bunyip. Just chipping onto the right for McLeod, who takes off out to the wing. There's a man leading up forward, almost spoiled away by Blackwood, and Halmore unable to hold the mark. Over 2 minutes into the second quarter, where it's mainly lived in Bunyip's forward line. And it could again if they're able to clear it. A shallow throw in, so the ruckman had to sprint towards the ball. Might have to do it all over again. When they do, they advance a couple of metres. So an intelligent play in the end by ruckman Eamon Trigg, who will tangle with Jenkin again. And he gets the tap forward to the advantage of his teammate, who soccers it off the ground. It's centering, and the defence just bashed it away again off the grass. Indecisive, and then eventually hand passing out to Armour, who had time and space. Not for long, it's holding the ball. And Papley looks to his left, and now can lower the eyes. Kicks wide to the wing. Thuring. Couple of players upfield, but he puts it back into the centre, and it was chopped off by Armour on the right. Hurls it towards the wing, and in between there and half forward. Kept in play. Probably not to their benefit. Thuring on the right. Just chiselled the kick, and now playing for deliberate. The umpire says we'll have another ball in, lads. 60 out from Nana Goon's goal, a 22-point lead.
So it's a bit even at the moment. No side really showing who's going to be boss here in this second quarter. Whistle blown, and it will be called back.
So a couple of contenders for the Fused by King G mark of the day. Just the one for the King G Trade Comfort Max goal of the day.
Yeah, of course, by Noi, who didn't look too confident on that set shot, but End up striking it, almost taken over the line there by a Gooner. Oh, Penny, how's the intensity? Unlucky, but probably deserved the free kick against him there, holding the man, going
Helmore.
in the way of Daniel Helmore. Heard it from Dill. So they now push it forward. Armour nearly intercepted again. Dogs get to it first, however. Was looking for Thuring. That's got to be holding the ball. Great intensity. He was trapped in a triangle of Goon.
Yeah, well, it looked like Thuring was going to offer the shepherd, and then he didn't. And that cost him as they progressed down the field further.
Well, I think he was just dropping back for the handball, but yeah, as you said, his teammate was expecting the shepherd, so a bit of miscommunication there as they push forward towards the Goons' forward line. Spills the ball and a bit of juggling there from Yorney. Should be crossing over the boundary line, and it does. If Yorney just tapped a bit more to the right, I reckon he would have had a clean look to Crum and then kick a good one, but that events didn't take place, so we have a boundary throw-in instead. In the ruck is Trigg and Jenkin. Oh, that's not a bad look there from Yorney, but just a bit too much on it and kicks it across. Now Smith kicks it from almost over his head. And another stoppage. So Nana Goon have had it in there for a little bit now. For another boundary throw-in.
Neither team yet to score in the second quarter. Just under 6 minutes in. Getting a fingertip to it. Homfrey of the Matthew variety, and now a snap from an impossible angle. It's not impossible for him. What a goal, and definitely a contender for our King G Trade Comfort Max goal of the day. That was just pure spontaneity.
And that was Brendan Herman there on that one. That was terrific. He was falling away from the footy across to the boundary line and was still able to kick it on, as you said, Dill, on the toughest of angles. And I don't think that's a contender. I reckon that's won it for now. That's, of course, unless another contender comes through. But what a goal there by Brendan Herman. Crunch on the ground was Papley by Trigg, the ruckman. So Papley gets the footy again. He's wrapped out again, tries desperately to rage through like a ball, but umpire says my ball once again. So Jenkin does a great tap, but not to the advantage, however. Here's Herman, the rover, kicked a brilliant goal just moments before. That's a terrific grab there. Who was that by? Looks like Purcell. No, it was actually Homfrey. So was almost hunted down there, and then again Herman. That's not a bad look. Has he done it? He hasn't. Gone to the right.
Well, they need to steady the ship here to Bunyip. 29 points down. 7.5 minutes into the second quarter on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. And from full back, they'll need to take a methodical approach. It's been a bit of mix and match, and nothing has been attained. So we just wait for the ball. It's going over the road.
Imagine living up there on the hill, Dill. You wouldn't even need to pay admission. You could just watch from your balcony.
Maybe a couple of trees obstructing the view. Full back. They form a pack at left half forward. A big fist flying through from Reed Jenkin at ground level. Just bobbles around. No one can quite grasp the footy. It slips around again. Just edging closer and closer to the boundary line. And finally, that is the destination that is reached.
I like how active Papley's been for Bunyip. I know they're struggling a bit this quarter, but he's been really active in the mid, and he's just trying his best to get it out to teammates, but I think it's just his other mids that need to pick it up a bit.
30 out from Nana Goon's goal, who have been menacing so far in the early stages of this second quarter. Boundary line looms again and beats them all.
So tackled to the ground, and that's read nicely by Hughes. Didn't have to move the body much at all, just sat there and patiently waited for the footy. Marked at about half back for the Bulldogs. close to the boundary line. They decide to cut it back across the face. Not a great kick. Luckily, Dylan Quirk presented in the end. No Bulldogs are moving forward. They're really stagnant moving. No one's leading forward. He's going to have to kick it into a pack here, and he does. No mark could be taken, but now they're out here, the Dogs. Or are they not? The Goon, the pressure. Penny flicks it out to a teammate. Still chasing the Sharon. Bunyip now have possession. Never mind, it's back with the Goon. An umpire. Has he paid a free kick? I believe he has. And he will. So now it's with Chris Stirring, who hasn't had too bad of a game.
This will probably be as far up of the ground as they have been in the last 5 or 6 minutes. And again, it's brought to ground level. Even numbers. They begin to duplicate. And the umpire calls for another ball up at centre wing. Over 10 minutes in. 29-point lead for Nana Goon. 5-8 to 1-3.
And there's some anger in this game. I'm not sure if you just noticed there, but another Bulldog was thrown to the ground. There's quite a lot of mixed feelings here down here at Bunyip between these two clubs.
Again, Trigg out of the ruck. Punching it forward. The Mud probably won that contest. Papley again, maybe fortuitously, kicks it into the hands of Brent Hughes. Said it's Ashley Allen. The Mud covered his number. Thought it was an 18 for a moment, but we've seen a couple of kicks from this position, and they've both been unsuccessful. And Ashley Allen, he needs to give them this jump start again. And he's struck it well. It just needs to bend back towards goal. Was it touched on the line? We'll wait for the verdict. No. And Bunyip have their second. Ashley Allen.
And I don't know about you, Dill, but that certainly looked touched to me. I'm not sure about that decision, but maybe that's just what Bunyip needed.
Good contact.
Yeah, you could hear the smack from the boot right here, down here at the commentary box, and yeah, it was a great kick of the footy, and an even better kick there by Papley, who found the target. I knew he had to be careful, had a hip injury a couple of years ago, but he shook it off and found the option really well in Allen.
Oh, jeez. Both pull-ups sore. One more than the other.
Oh, that was sickening.
Is it Trigg?
Yeah.
He has been the ruckman this quarter, it is. Good to see them both back up on their feet. Maybe a wry smile we saw there from Jenkins. So they'll do it again, and they'll be careful this time.
This Bunyip crowd is unforgiving, though. They were telling him to get up.
And now an open, unguarded man. It's half forward. It's Dylan Gallish. Has the short lead. Took it a little longer and just a little too tall in the end for Allen, who kicked their previous goal. Parker. Haven't seen a lot of him, but we know he's a premium midfielder for them. It's a perfect place to kick for Herman, who's got the goal of the day so far. And now across the boundary line. They work it wondrously. Back in board. Mark taken. Quick hand pass. He can just lug it inside, and he does, but it's intercepted by the defence. Allen now. He can speed up movement, just dictating the play now. Through the corridor, but he runs too far. And it'll be Nana Goon's goal. Rather, possession, not goal.
That's a lack of communication from Bunyip. Yeah, sure, Penny was really chasing him down there, but he still probably had a couple seconds at least, so they needed to talk to him a bit more. And obviously this ground is not the greatest to bounce on at the moment.
Kelly. Pipicelli. On a casual stroll across his back line. Parker. Right back pocket to the wing. Had to be diligent with the kick. It was, but the defender affected it as Penny falls to ground and has the ball secured. All wrapped up. Close to the Bulldogs' goal. They trail it by 23 points. 14 minutes into the second quarter. They've been ominous in the last couple of minutes. But that's put to a halt for a fraction of a second because Nana Goon now across the wing. They have a mark, and he just nudged his opponent off the mark as he works it up to the forward pocket, waiting at the back of the pack. He needs it to sit comfortably for him. He kicks it off the ground for another goal. Troy McDermott. Brilliant innovation. And again, that 29-point lead opens up for Nana Goon.
And that's now 2 for him. He could have almost had 3, but yeah, 2 majors in a half. Not a bad day. And Troy McDermott, he played reserves for the now dead Northern Blues in the VFL, who have since become the Northern Bull Ants. So he's certainly got a fair amount of talent on them, that man.
They seem to be defying physics of all these tough angles. We had that goal just then, and then Herman's before. And that was off the ground, which definitely makes it harder.
Yeah, in the mud as well.
In the mud. And the rain is just holding off for the moment. Out the back door, Nana Goon. They'll have another opportunity. A towering effort, and the mark is eventually paid for Humphrey. Had teammates on the overlap, drilled it to right half forward, and in the hole, the defence stood tall for Bunyip, who signals that he'll kick it down the wing, and he does exactly that eventually.
So down on the wing, it was a 2v1 in favour of Bunyip, but nonetheless, the Goons still won the contest, I reckon, and now they can push out back, going down the wing. Humphrey, I should say, almost took it, not before a free kick would be paid in the way of Matthew O'Halloran, and I'm pretty sure this is his first touch today. So we'll go for a little bit of a jog, and then find Hughes down there at full back. Then he'll go back from where Bunyip came from. Kick it out again. Bit of method in their madness, the Bulldogs. Tries to centre it, was successful and found Nathan Allen. Then found another option in Spores. Just staying in the mid, that should be high. The umpire will instead take it back for a ball up. Or maybe a free kick was paid in the end. My mistake. Jenkin down there at left half forward, centres it, looking for any option. Penny stood tall though, and he's collected. Now he can run through, trying to break through, but there's a good strong line of defence there from the Dogs. Moving further down, Nana Goon. That was Cooper Purcell. And goes over the line for a behind. And there was some really good speed there from Penny and started that entire sequence. It's just unfortunate that Purcell couldn't put the icing on the cake. So Armour flicks it out. He's crunched, and a tackle was McDermott, who's been busy today. And they will be holding the ball. Great tackle there by the Bulldogs, the red, white and blue. Once again, kicks it across to the fullback in Brent Hughes, who's had a fair bit of the footy down there in fullback today. Goes out towards the wing. High punch, and he'll find the boundary line. So
over 18 minutes in to the second quarter, a 30-point lead.
Who would you have for your best on ground at the moment, Dylan?
Jeez, plenty of options. Yorney up forward's been quite formidable. A couple of the Humphrey boys.
Yeah, I would have said Matty Humphrey. He's been really active today.
Another whistle. Yeah, just continuing. Trent Armour's been good. Anthony Young, who was best on ground last time these two sides played. He's been a little quiet, but still has formed opportunities. As they have another one here, a prominent fist from the defence, and they just need to hold up. A couple of outlets were available, one of which was Thuring, who puts it back into the main state of play. And this can just spark repercussions if they turn it over, which they do. And there is the repercussion that I was alluding to. Another goal for the Goon. And it's 7-9-51 to 2-3-15.
Really poor choice there by Bunyip. You need to flick it out away from the goals, not to a player who's directly in front. Far too easy, and I think it was Herman who scored that goal. But as I mentioned before, that's just light work for Nana Goon, and they'll make you pay every single day. And this lead now getting just the slightest out of hands as Bunyip can feel their season slowly starting to slip away.
36 points, under 20 minutes, not even into time on yet, but Bunyip, they desperately need a response. They might not be able to because entering forward, Marsham just rummaging upfield for a target. It falls loose. And Bunyip, they can suppress the flow for a moment. O'Halloran at right half back into the hands of McLeod, who honours the voice upfield of Kinder, who had to modify his approach because he saw an opponent coming at him, and we'll have a ball up at centre wing.
And Bunyip, they haven't been too bad at defending when it first comes in. It's more so when it comes in that second and third and fourth time that they're just not holding up. And that's honestly a bit of the mid's fault. They just need to attack the contested footy more and stop laying back.
And a throw is given here. Jenkin tried to tantalise his opponent on the mark. That kick to half forward. Mark's taken. Gallish, too far out to score. At full forward, and a whistle's been blown. And we'll just wait for the umpire's decision. Armour talking to the ump. We should have a 50-metre free kick, and we do. Dylan Gallish will have a chance to kick his third. He's been at Bunyip since 2014. Played 5 years at Garfield. No one even bothering to go on the mark. And Bunyip, they return fire. Their third of the day, 3-3 to 7-9.
And I think, was it protected zone there from Armour? I think that's what it was. He didn't have a man on him, so.
Well, it's either that or dissent, because Armour, it looked like the umpire was quite stern with his words, and he might have been a little annoyed at what Armour said to him. But either way, it's a 50-metre penalty, and Bunyip are back on the board as we approach the 22-minute mark. A 30-point margin. Slapped forward for Nana Goon again. They all barrel into each other, and just freeing up the arms and the ball in the end was the Nana Goon midfield. O'Sullivan lodges that one forward, and Quirk able to track back for the mark in defence. Has Papley on through the middle. Agility on display. Fans the kick wide to Thuring. He's got a lead up forward. Has plenty, in fact. McLeod was on short, but now out full chest. It was 14 on 14, and Paxton unable to reach Young, who takes the mark at left half back for the Goon.
So runs off his mark. Was pressured well there by the Bulldog and Allen. Centering ball, Armour just couldn't get the two hands out in the end, but that was a really clever tap out towards the wing. Avoided the tackle. He received the footy back. Great use of the hands here. And then McDermott can line it up and miss.
It was a brilliant passage of play, wasn't it? Just needed the finish.
Armour was so clever with the originating smack of the footy out to the left, and then it was an even better handball over to McDermott, and just unfortunate as Troy McDermott, probably his second pretty bad miss of the day, had absolutely no one on him as well. So
he's played very well, though.
He has played very well. I will give him that. He has kicked a couple, but he could have had even more. And now Hughes kick it out from the back line. Flying to teammate out there in the wing. Ball almost turned over. They were looking for Thuring, I believe it was. And, Hughes stretches out, taps it to himself, and that's going to be another contender for mark of the day. Papley out there at half back, flicks it over. Good use of hands. And he then finds Sproles. who slows it down a little bit, but Nana Goon, they've got some numbers coming back here. They've got to move it quickly. Out on the left, enters inside 50. No one presented. And a free kick we paid.
Well, Connor Steele did present, but the kick was just a little short for him, yep. Blackwood in defence. Customary side for him. Dropping the mark, Noy. He might have an opportunity to rectify the situation. Thuring had other ideas. Slipping to ground again, Paxton. Will try and keep his feet this time as a tackle laid. Jenkin and now Paxton to open space. Gallish, who just kicked their third goal of the game, had an opponent on him and he just flicked it out of bounds and the umpire says we'll throw it in, but that's a tenacious tackle in the end by Jake Blackwood.
So Bunyip starting to get a couple repeat inside 50 entries. Hasn't been too bad of the last couple minutes for them. The Jenkin punches it out to no one's advantage, ends up with the Goon. Umpire says, my footy. And it's Jenkin and Marsham in the ruck. Lost footy there. Marsham just chucks onto the boot and turns it over. So Bunyip have played some pretty good footy in the last couple of minutes, and I take that back.
Commentator's curse.
Turn it right over to Young, and they're calling ball the crowd, and umpire's going to pay it. So now a real big opportunity presents here for the Bulldogs. He's got a man on his left, ignores him. Jenkin was leading there momentarily. So inside 50 again. Steal! Almost. Goon able to get it out. Look at Smith. Just sprinting for that ball like a madman, but Papley got to it first. And ball goes out of play. But Bunyip probably missed opportunity. Steele was so very close to getting that mark in the end, but just couldn't finish inside 50. Was tapping around and couldn't get the chest to the ball. As another stoppage will go on, and umpire says, my ball, Dylan.
Yeah, not much time.
There's a player in the ground.
Yep. Nearly 27 minutes in, and hopefully he hasn't done anything too severe. He looks to have, is it the hand on the hip region? I could be wrong as the trainer comes out now.
Nah, it's his knee.
It's his knee, jeez.
The worst injury in sport, pretty much.
Yep. Well, we hope that it's nothing too serious. It's always disturbing to know that one of your players is injured, or he is injured at all, but a knee especially. And usually it's the ankle that's quite prevalent, but when you know it's a knee and you're getting all this attention, it's very worrying. And he's slow to get up. And the teams will regroup. The stretcher coming out as well.
Great from Thuring, though. Sending his condolences. But yeah, that's stretcher out. That's bad news. So just trying
to get an eye on who it exactly is.
He's on the ground, so we can't get a number, and really unfortunate.
And now it will be a prolonged quarter. It'll go into 32, 33-minute territory. But the main focus now is just to ensure that he's all right and escapes without a serious injury. Maybe the best possibility, a hyperextension.
Yeah. Or even maybe like Darcy Moore against Gold Coast, where it's just a knock but no structural damage.
Yeah. Just while we observe and hope that it's nothing too serious, we'll get some around the ground scores. for you. Over at Garfield, it's the Warrigal Industrials who lead them 10-7-67 to 3-3-21. Phillip Island have just crawled away from Coralin, who were pressing early. 7-14-56 to 5-4-34. And over at Turadin, it's 7-9-51 to 3-8-26. Daleston are playing Cooey Rupp at their home ground, and Inverloch are also playing Corumburra Bena. So we'll get a score check on them when we can. As we can see, the stretcher is coming off. And all the teammates and opponents will go over and wish him well. A tap on the head. But that's the priority. To get him off safely and in a healthy state, but he is moving. So it's definitely not a concussion. I know Bailey said it was his knee already, but...
Yeah. Can't... Oh, he's on the stretcher, so won't be able to get a number, but... Though it's unfortunate circumstances, I guess at least Bunyip can perhaps regroup a little bit. So, just trying to find out who that is, but obviously at Bunyip, so crowd's not going to be too aware of which Goon player that is. Nonetheless, play resumes. We hope that Goon player, of course, is okay. Mark taken just on the brink of inside 50. They push it further towards full forward. No mark taken. Getting ever so close to goal. A real opportunity presents here for the Bulldogs. They need a strike. But they can settle down here. Goon as Jai Keith. Luke Bettio marks it. Now Brent Hughes, who played his 200th game earlier on in the year, as free kick is paid towards Goon, going towards Anthony Young, who was best on ground last week, as we mentioned before. Going further across the wing, hits him right in the chest of Matthew Homfrey, who's been probably one of the best players today. Falcon on Hughes' head. And siren goes. And we've had a fairly lopsided game of footy for Goon, but there is still plenty in it. Bunyip have shown at times that they are willing to move the ball fast and be daring. So we just need to see that for a full half, and we've got a game of footy. Goon could perhaps be a bit more accurate.
Yep. Plenty of positives that quarter.
Yeah.
Plenty of negatives as well. We give our best wishes to the Goon player, who will try and find out who it is, but it didn't look good, did it? Knee injury. That's the big story of the first half to go with the 31-point lead.
So, what do you reckon Bunyip need to do or need to talk about going into the second half, Dill?
Well, just second efforts. They do commit, but it's just the one time. I've noticed it a couple of times. The pressure. Papley has definitely been one who has showed the second efforts. It's rather than going over to remonstrate to the umpire, they just have to fight for the ball. 31 points is the margin. We'll take a break over the main hiatus and come back. It's a 31-point lead for Goon. 7-10-52 to 3-3-21 as they head to their change rooms to go regroup and come out in the second half. We'll be right back with you. It's Goon by 31 on the Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
This is a story of a community, A community that likes to work hard. Digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard. Digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard. Digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the groove. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the groove. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the groove. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the groove. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the groove. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the groove. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Welcome back to Bunyip Recreation Reserve, where Nana Goon hold a 31-point lead and the rain has just started to pour down. It's only a light shower at the moment, but it certainly could become heavier. But as far as the ground state, it'll only be muddier, and now goals will come as a premium. It's 5 goals that Bunyip will need to chase up. Bailey Allen is still with me. 31 points for Bunyip. The deficit, what do they need to do?
Reckon they just need to move the ball a bit cleaner around the contest, their mids. They're showing enough fight, but I think you even said before that we went into our halftime break deal that there have been opportunities where they could have leaked out the back, but they've sort of just sat back a little bit. So I think that's something they need to focus on. And yeah, they're not too bad entering inside 50, but their cleanliness around contested footy just hasn't been good enough for them to enter inside 50 constantly.
Well, if you've just joined us, Bradley Homfray for Nana Goon has gone down with an injury. Well, we were speculating about a knee, but I did hear that he was knocked out. But either way, we just give him our best wishes and hope he's all right, because we don't see too many injuries for the West Gippsland League. At least the games that we broadcast, that's probably one of the first that I've seen. And we just hope that he is well. But if we go around the grounds, now if we move to the AFL for a moment, North Melbourne are defeating Collingwood. It's 26 minutes into the third quarter, and they hold a 27-point lead, which is quite astounding given that their situation at the moment. They're playing for David Noble, and they have responded with fury.
Hey, North Melbourne are playing to stay in North Melbourne and not move to Tassie. Yeah, they have been poor this year, the Kangas. And you know, I had faith in them at the start of the year. I said they'd finish 12th, and that is just about my worst call I've ever had. So, but yeah, for the Pies, that is costly. And the competition's so close at the moment, and to cough up a loss to North, that would be disastrous for their season.
I was tempted to tip North Melbourne, but if we go to around the grounds in this league, Phillip Island have broken away from Coralyn. They lead it by 35 points. Tooradin lead Kilcunda Bass by 52 points. And Warrigal Industrials lead Garfield by 52 points. Just trying to get an update for Daleston Cooey-Rupp and Inverloch Kongwak against Corumburra Bena. But we return to the live action here. The third quarter has just begun. Bunyip this time, they'll collect the footy for the first time and delayed the give. McLeod did. And now off to the other teammate he had. Support is needed. The footy again just lies on the turf. Handballs come from Nana Goon, and the searching kick around the outer side is successful. The mark is taken on the wing. A short lead was passed on. He hoists it high in the Yorney direction. Would have been a tough mark in the wet to clunk. And now Kelly, and relocating in the forward line to take that mark was Cooper Purcell, who has a contender for mark of the day.
That was clever. And dropped to the knees.
In fact,
yeah, it wasn't Purcell. It was
Matthew Homfray.
Yeah, Matt
Apologies.
Homfray. And he's, as I said before, he's been just about best on ground today. Playing on the wing, it's been great. Option down inside 50 as well. So in the wet, can they hit? They can. So Homfray gets another major. And Nana Goon are off to a hot start. Just trying to extend that lead, and Bunyip now in the wet, already becoming desperate. But yeah, Homfray is, as I mentioned before, he's definitely got my 3 votes to start off. He's just done a bit of everything.
It's gone early, has Baz?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to happen, but he has just had an outstanding afternoon, as Matty Homfray. So, getting ready to resume hostilities.
Yep, 37 points the margin now, with 12 more scoring shots as well, but they have been a little inaccurate. Tapped forward, and another repeat entry for the Goon, and a free kick going the way of
Homfray.
Wait, the umpire's signal. Yep, Homfray, who centres it. One-on-one. Well worked from the defender. It just needs the second effort as well, and now he will persevere. Drawing a crowd in the end was Callie. He was 6-on-6. Quirk of the Ryan variety, and it tumbles over the line.
That was some good intensity from Ryan Quirk there. Put enough pressure on the ball to cause a stoppage, and that's a big win for the Bulldogs, considering how they've been this game. The boundary throw in. close to Nana Goon's 50. Almost pushed in the air. Was Trent Noy, but stayed composed and went over the boundary line again. So it's going to be a fair bit of a stop-start throughout this quarter as players slip over in the wet. Rain has calmed down a little bit as clearer skies continue to stream towards the Bunyip footy oval and holding against Nana Goon.
Yeah, well, we talked about how play was flowing nicely, but in this second half, that might be a rarity as Quirk, this time it was Dylan Quirk, has something he likes in the middle. It was Curtis Jenkin, who deferred to O'Halloran, who then investigated inside his forward 50 and tackled to ground was Kinder. Might just stay in play, and it does. Fighting hard at ground level. Some combatic moves in there. It's still slapped forward. Not a lot of yardage being picked up for either side, but still in there. Bunyip and Nana Goon this time. Escape with the footy. Exiting out to the wing. Just attracting it, but not collecting it successfully. We'll have a ball up. Rather a throw in centre wing, far side.
So boundary throw in. Trigg and Jenkin in the ruck. No one really wins in the end. Ball still tumbling towards Nana Goon's 50. Player smacked right in the noggin. Players crashing up against the ball. Quirk off half back, try to find any teammate, kicked into space, but only end up with a man from the Goon. So then he decides to go for a little bit of a jog. Kicks it close to the boundary line, and Quirk intercepts again. He's had a really good third term to start off. Kicks it across to Papley, who was to his left. Centers it over to Jenkin. Nice composed ball movement here from the Doggies. And now Papley receives the handball, going right through the middle. Wants to send a dagger. Paxton almost took it, whistle blown. Free kick going towards Nana Goon. Paxton just held him there. Oh, it was actually a free kick going against Nana Goon. So Paxton will have a set shot directly in front.
Needs this.
They certainly do, the Doggies. Paxton is probably about 45, 40 out maybe. He's already kicked one today. Aaron Paxton to get his side up and about through the middle. That's through. And maybe there's a heartbeat in there somewhere, as it's now reduced to 31 points for Bunyip. And that was all came through from Mr. Will Papley. Moved great through the middle and sent a dagger right through over to Aaron Paxton after receiving the handball from Jenkin. So that is just a ball movement Bunyip want a little bit more of.
Cancels out the goal that's Nana Goon kicked in the opening minutes. That's what we just see in the crowd. Everyone huddled in one region. The rain continues. It has slowed down. And it's been 2 goals early in this third quarter, but immediately off the runway, Nana Goon inside 50. Yorney, maybe his teammate just upset him there by tapping it forward. Papley again, sold the dummy, and then delivered to centre half back for Allen, who looked inside. Now Papley on the overlap, bypassing nearly everyone. Inside 50, maybe miscued the kick a little bit. Off the ground, edging closer and closer. Need to kick a goal here, they do, but unfortunately for them, there was just one man playing the goalkeeper role in the form of Tex Marsham.
Boy, is he just like his brother. He's just a big X factor, isn't he?
Papley, of course.
Papley, he is really lighting up Bunyip here in the cold and the wet here in this third term, running through the middle with class, selling dummies. He's just played a perfect third quarter.
Cushioning kick to half back. Now to the wing. Outstretched, takes the mark. He skies the kick, almost to the advantage of his teammate and Mitch Homfrey, who adapts to the situation, cleans it up, directs it towards goal. But nothing came to fruition. Keith takes the mark in defence. to Thuring. Tells his teammates to just provide some sort of option, so he lofts it up. In the end, Jenkin. Reed Jenkin. Short to the wing. That's a bit of a dangerous kick, but it works in the end. A juggling mark from Kinder, who surveys upfield. His opponent moved on the mark. He was told to, and it's a throw. He refrained himself from giving it off, but unfortunately for him, he was too indecisive, and it'll go the other way.
Jim McLeod was running away from him. Not sure what he was doing there in the end, but nonetheless, back over to Brendan Herman, who probably kicked goal of the day.
Oh, was that in?
Is that a mark?
It is.
They'll count it for
Homfray.
Matthew Homfray. Then centres it, looking for Noy. Instead, it's probably going to end up with Jenkin, who just soccers it. And found a target as well. Clever. They're right there in that big mud patch. Probably stink out of their minds, these boys.
Oh, good mark.
And a good mark taken there by Jai Keith. Sliding his knees across the muddy terrain. Centres it. Then found an option in Allen, who's trying to just push it inside 50 as much as he can. Had to dish it off by hand to Helmort. Really high kick of the footy. Who can get it here? No one can before the ball rolls over the boundary. But Bunyip have been by far the better team this third term. They've really come out to play. They just need to get a bit more on the scoreboard, and they are right back in this. They have been far more intense than the Goon.
Yep, they definitely have. 25 out from their goal. And Nana Goon will try and avert the danger. And they do. But is it a free kick going the way of Nana Goon or Bunyip? Should be going the Goon's way. At the left half back. $30 points is the margin for Nana Goon. And they settle the left half back. We just wait for play to resume. So now he just tosses it up for the wing. He says catch to his teammates, who eventually pick it up. Just shoveled away. And now they can move forward. They do slowly. In full throttle they are. Homfray right to full forward. And it's a free kick as tensions flare. It'll be right in front of goal for Troy McDermott. Maybe a little unsettled, the Bunyip defenders. They did have all the play, but could only manufacture one goal. And Troy McDermott, as previously mentioned, is accustomed to kicking a large amount of goals, and he just adds another one to the tally there. And the Goon, a 9-10-64 to Bunyip's 4-4-28. $54 goals in 2017, just through 17 games. He's kicked 383 goals in the 223 games he played before today, and he's added another 2 on the board. It's only 11 and a half minutes into the third quarter. But now it's Bunyip's turn, and they need them in quick succession. The rain is holding off for the moment, but Nana Goons certainly aren't. They thread the hand pass through. Quirk for Bunyip into the forward pocket now. They all slip to ground. Staying up on his feet though, Papley. And then he was just driven into the turf. Quickly bounces back up on his feet. Raising the arms. And it's locked away for another ball up at right half forward for Nana Goon. And it's about 55, 60 metres from Bunyip's goal. And you can just... Well, if you can't see it, they've got a couple of numbers forward. A one-on-one at full forward. Plenty of people in the midsection of the forward line as the whistle blows again. Climbing again. ruckman for Nana Goon. Knocked it down. But Papley for Bunyip. Little scooping hand pass over the top. McLeod turns, whips it inside. Almost entering the picture to take the mark was Halmore. Still alive. That snap from the pack is astray and out of bounds. 13 minutes into the third quarter. And this is just slowly evaporating for Bunyip. They need 6 goals to tie the game. But Nana Goon, they've had 11 more scoring shots and have dominated since the first quarter. The opening minutes, restrained and taken off of Nana Goon. Snapped forward for the Bulldogs, where it's still loitering. Plenty of players hounded. And eventually they could just make their way out of defence, but they show a clean pair of heels at half back to Bunyip. Papley steadies, kicks to left half forward. Mark is taken by Gallish, who's kicked the one so far today. He props that one up, was broken up with a big set of knuckles for Nana Goon, and in defence, strong mark this time by Herman, who had Thuring ready to obstruct. Didn't faze him at all. Now to the wing, a large congregation of players. Papley up for the fly, waiting at ground level for the ball. It was Trigg, and just escorting his opponent out of the bounds was Troy McDermott.
So you can see the breath on the players. It has turned bitterly cold. I've actually noticed. It wasn't warm before, but feel as if it's just gotten that little bit colder. So ball centering. This spells danger for the Bunyip Bulldogs. Lucky for them, though, there's a stoppage. And Jenkin will go in the ruck. Loses this contest as it enters the Goons inside 50. Ball brought to the ground, and we'll have another ball up just about maybe 15, 20 metres from where it was before. Just pushed her out for a Humphrey. And that was Armour, who just tried to go anywhere close to goals, but the Bulldogs had numbers back. Look out here, though. Tries to snap it across the body. That was really clever. Do they have an opportunity? They're not going to pay 15, or will they? No, to behind. So it was almost Mitchell Humphrey who was able to get that as Tholling marks it, brings it to ground, and then turns it over. He's done a couple of those stirring. So another really almost a good mark taken by Yorney, but it's getting really close there to goals for Nana Goon, but Bunyip were able to just hold it off that little bit more. Another boundary throw in. No one really won that one, just went to grounds. Snaps around the body and goes through for a touch behind off Yorney. But that wasn't too bad of a look there from Mitchell Humphrey, who snapped around the body and was looking good for a little bit.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been able to bounce through either with the mud patch in the goal square. All right, Halloran to the left. He's ignored him a couple of times today, Brent Hughes, from full back on an extended stroll. Had room to manoeuvre. Now out to the wing. Now closer to right half forward as it's punched back through. And we'll have a throw in, about 55, 60 out from goal. The quarter has gone by quite quickly. Nearly 17 minutes in, and Nana Goon, they're relentless at the moment. That hand pass, a little indiscriminate, and a free kick going the way of Bunyip. Papley, everywhere as usual. One of the bright spots today for Bunyip, who, in fact, it's not Papley, but Papley still has been everywhere. It's O'Halloran out to Penny, who couldn't quite juggle the mark, and it's out of bounds.
We've seen a lot more stoppages this quarter. It's harder to move the ball fluently in this, in the mud.
Knocked forward again, and then just hacked out of the air. Noy had the rise, but he provided the crumb opportunity for his teammates who link up by hand, and now they all slipped to ground. Overrunning the footy was Hughes, a one-on-one, diving at ground level, desperation, and rushed through for a minor score. Well done by Brent Hughes, who had to make amends.
Almost could have been kicking danger there
Yeah.
for Yorney. He went for the ball and the Bulldog tried to sock it off the grounds, but nonetheless, Hughes was able to get the touch behind. Front on contact. Just about the most obvious call you'll ever see. Allen kicks it out towards the centre square. Gives it off to Kinder by hands. What a rundown by Penny. No free kick paid, but I would definitely reward that with a good call. That was a brilliant lay tackle there by Penny, and he's done that a couple times today. The boy from Papua New Guinea. He's won 2 international cups, as we mentioned before, one against Ireland and one in a thrilling 1-point victory against New Zealand in 2017. Hopefully we'll see him back out there in 2023 next year. High ball, Quirk. Presented down back just in case, but ball didn't go near him. Could have been holding the man, but also could have been holding the ball. Umpire decides to let play go. Quirk, he's had a good third quarter. It's taken high. And now they're getting stuck into it. Look at Sproles getting right into Young there. And eventually breaks up as Quirk just tries to calm his boys down, assessing his options. Has to kick to a pack in the ends. Mark should have been taken by her men. And now Bunyip can capitalise. Helmore tried to find an option, but was punched out of bounds.
39 points. Still the difference. Half a minute away from time on. And again, just punching it out of there for Nana Goon. Their ruckman has been providing that all day. Seeding it out into the teammates of Callie was Allen. It's just stopped in its tracks. They need to work this out of defence. A backwards hand pass in order to go forward. Papley still rising to the occasion, and another whistle, and we'll have a ball up. About 55 out from Nana Goon's goal.
I'll tell you what, Sproles has been receiving it a lot this quarter. It's been slung to the ground a couple times. Missed punch there by Trent Noy. That was a bit questionable. Nonetheless, it'll stay with Nana Goon. Almost high, but it's clever enough just to go below the shoulders. Kicked into the air, into space, punched out. Here's O'Sullivan of Nana Goon. Receives the ball back again after disposing of it correctly. Just trying to wriggle around for any free room was Luke Bettio. And it probably should and will go over the boundary line again.
Yep.
So,
Sure will.
yeah, just not much scoring as predicted happening in this quarter, Dill.
No, but another ball up. Well, it was inevitable. Now it's not, because Allen had control of the footy, and there it is. The whistle of the umpire. 21 minutes in on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. It's Nana Goon by 39 points on now a gloomy Saturday afternoon. It was bright before. And we'll have another ball up. Definitely need a goal and another one after that, but it's looking to be out of reach for Bunyip. Fighting in there. Ball finally squirts out. Centre half forward, a one-on-one. Papley had good use. He was at the front. He was being pressed by Homfrey, but it didn't matter. Now out to the wing. Papley could offer some assistance here, but he looks to be very tired. And that kick from Keith to the wing. It'll be on its way back. They work it through by hand, constructing another kick forward, and then just picking it up with not a lot of awareness was Keith again, and Papley was taken high, and do the sensible thing and move it to Hughes in the back line, who has room. Kicks wide. Thuring was waiting for the bounce, and it just eluded him, so he'll have to make amends. Callie gets the kick away. It's close to the boundary line. Papley with the spoil. Quirk with the spoil. And out of bounds.
Quirk's been great off half-back. It's probably, maybe if Papley hadn't had such a good quarter, I'd be saying Quirk. Ryan Quirk has been the best player in this third term. Her man, still goal of the day winner at the moment, unless we're to see some sort of miracle in the wet. Stoppage. It's Noy in the ruck. Eventually gets a tap out after the ball is thrown up. And now they can move, soccers it off the ground, only for it to end up in the hands of Parker. And then he looks for Noy, who almost took a really strong grab but couldn't bring it to the chest in the end. Umpire once again says my ball. And Nana Goon have probably just got control at the moment over the Bunyip Bulldogs. Noy again in the ruck, taps it, couldn't find any option. So it was Allen who just had to spread it out. But unfortunately, Purcell was there to mark. O'Sullivan dropping back against the path of the ball and marks it right in the chest. He now centres it, going closer towards goal. No mark taken. It was a good spoil by Keith. Ball hits the ground again. That should be high against Papley. Knee right into the head of McDermott, who's had a good game down forward. Noy, he's playing pretty good in the ruck in this third term. Ball spills out and Quirk
Kicks the goal.
goes the wrong way. And yeah, if this is soccer, it'd be an own goal, but instead that just goes for a point. No 6 rewarded there as Hughes kicks out back to Quirk. And then a mark taken by Allen.
And Allen off his line, about 40 metres upfield. They all collide into each other. A big collision and a half volley picked up. A hand pass back up on his feet was Tex Marsham, who has a man on the outer side. And he'll just try to invent something but can't because Ryan Quirk engineers a mark. Short chip to the wing, Nathan Allen. And now inboard, Quirk in pursuit. They can move as he does fool the man on the mark. Out wide was Jenkin, but it was accommodating the bounce for Halmore, whose kick was slightly deflected. Still moves along the ground. No one really able to pick it up, and another throw in. Just over 25 minutes. Should be a shorter quarter than the previous one, which went for about 32, 33 minutes. Only a handful of goals kicked, which do come as a premium now. And it slips through. Definitely a greasy football. And McDermott had the licence to push it over. 40 minutes, 40 points with a couple of minutes remaining. What do you say if you're the Bunyip coach or even the captain going into three-quarter time? I'll ask you that in a minute. Bailey Allen, play resumed a little quicker than I thought. And now able to garner the footy off half-back and roaming through the middle, just diving to take the mark, McDermott, but it just fell out of his control. And there is the siren. So a shorter quarter, just over 26 minutes. And it's a 40-point margin for Nana Goon, who have extended it. We'll ask Bailey Allen that question at the start of the fourth, but for now, we'll let you relax for a couple of minutes. We'll have a quick break. It's Nana Goon 9-14 to Bunyip 4-4 on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Wonderland, whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart.
Back at Bunyip Recreation Reserve, where Nana Goon hold a 40-point lead. And now I'll ask Bailey Allen that question. Bunyip in the huddle, what do you say? 40 points down. It's a rough sort of turf, definitely muddy, and goals are not easy to come by, especially in this last quarter.
I think the mids just need to defend a bit better. The ball's leaked out in the way of Nana Goon multiple times, and they're so dangerous moving forward. And if they don't score on an opportunity, they will definitely, or on most occasions, have been able to enter back a second, third, or fourth time. And if Bunyip are just able to apply that pressure, sure, it's going to be a really tough task, but if they can apply the pressure, they can cause turnovers. We've seen what this offense for Bunyip looks like when they're going through Papley. There were at the very start of that quarter, there were two different occasions where Papley just ripped right through the middle of the ground and not a single man stopped them. I reckon the only person who could have matched Papley's speed was maybe JJ Penny from Nana Goon. And if they're just able to cause more turnovers and go through the middle more through maybe Papley, or even just get more intercept marks through Ryan Quirk, who had a brilliant third term, then they can make it a bit healthier. But it's a really tough task, 40 points down in a quarter. But we've seen weirder things around in footy before.
And just around the grounds before we're underway for this fourth quarter, Tooradin hold a 66-point lead over Kilcundabass at Tooradin, and at Phillip Island they hold a 59-point lead over Coralin. So they've definitely galvanised each other and taken a big lead out of there. Still unable to get scores for Inverloch, Kongwak and Corumbarabina and Daleston Kuira. But Warrigal with a 58-point lead over Garfield at Garfield. And here at Bunyip, it's the visitors who have a 40-point lead, and in the AFL, well, it's a 1-point game with 5 minutes to play. Collingwood lead it.
Yeah, that's as I mentioned before, if Collingwood lose that one, that's pretty embarrassing to lose to West Coast and North Melbourne in the same season.
So punch forward for Nana Goon and carving his way through Nathan Allen. And it's a ball up immediately. And it won't be the first time in this last quarter, especially with the conditions since half-time. And there is Allen again, turning up for another disposal. And how's the torpedo that time from Aidan Pipicelli? Didn't work for them. Papley on the right, distributing out wide for Dykstra, who's just come on. And a strong tackle laid again. And another ball up on the wing.
They're getting stuck into each other again here, the boys.
So that's more of what you want to see. Papley driving it out. I know he missed on the kick, but that's the ball movement you like, especially with the one-on-one contest. And if you win that, you're out the back door. Here is Papley again, parked underneath it. Couldn't grab it the second time around. Almost gave access to his teammate. And then tunnelling through the pack was Halmore. In the middle of the ground. Jenkin in the ruck with the left. Knocked down, but a kick hacked out of there by Kelly. Full-chested Papley again. Just dropped the mark, and then Armour gave it off to Smith. Wandering ball forward, and at the last line of defence, Bunyip pulled up again. It's a favourable bounce in the end for Dykstra. Kicks across the win, and Jenkin.
Oh, sorry, Del, you go. Oh, okay. So Helmore, it's held up. Now they're moving through here in Flynn Parker. Nana Goon, but pretty bad kick there. Out of bounds on the full.
I was just going to mention that they've had opportunities to mark it, and then I was going to hand it over to you, but obviously the conditions affecting how they play at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's hard to get a clean look at the footy at the moment with all this mud flying through. That was clever. Dished off by hand straight away. Now he's got an option up forward, but there was a good presentation by Penny and crunching a tackle by Parker. He's slow to get up. That was a real crunch and a half there.
I reckon you could hear his ribs reverberate around the stadium.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for Gauch. Ball spills out. Parker. He has just been really intense here to start off this fourth term. This time going against Paxton, who's kicked, I think, 2 of Bunyip's 4 goals this afternoon. Allen, he's got a bunch of navy blue around him. And another stoppage. So Bunyip pretty close to goals here, just on the arc of 50. It's Quirk, turns it over, comes out again. Once again, Humphrey, he's been great this year. And this game in general, Jake Smith. He's handball smothered, and it goes back out to Humphrey. Now back in Tex Marsham, who's just about the only clean jumper on the field at the moment. Mark taken across half back from the Bulldogs. Going through the middle was Papley. He's brought to ground and turned over, and Papley looks to be in sort of trouble there. He's holding his head. He was a bit of a dangerous tackle. Humphrey finds a wide open man. And that's once again Humphrey. This time Mitchell, and he hits a great target as well. And that's Dean Kelly, who's presented himself up forward a couple of times today. It was just slow, methodical football from both Matthew and Mitchell Humphrey, and they were able to find Kelly, who is now confident enough to go for goal. It's about 45 or 40 out. Pretty tough angle, light drizzle, low kick, but looks pretty good. We'll go off to the left though. The Bulldogs decide not to run it over the line, and they'll instead push it out. Just for another turnover to happen. So Humphrey once again finds another target. This time even closer. About 30 metres out this time. Probably a bit of a tougher angle. And this one is going for Mitchell Humphrey, who has snapped on goal a couple times throughout this game. Hasn't been able to find the 2 big sticks, but now he's got the opportunity to go back on a set shot and slot it. right through, but he hits the post. And once again, another minus score for Nana Goon, 9-15-69. Plays Bunyip's 4-4-28 on your Totally Workwear scoreboard. So marking his quirk. Kicks it. That's a good, strong mark. Had to stretch out. They kick it further out towards the wing. Need to centre it here, the Bulldogs. It's getting pretty close to that boundary line. It's turned over again. Just been sloppy here. Have Bunyip. Kinder kicks it out. They're inside 50 now in a comfortable position. They're able to exit out though. Humphrey. Handballs. Herman. High kick. And finds a teammate who then gives off by hand. Herman, who just kicked it.
And it's 50
metres.
metres.
50 metres. Yep. So he must have just gone off the mark before he disposed of it. And now he'll get a clean look. Nana Goon just looking to bury Bunyip further down into the grave. So he can go back. Tough angle. Slots it. All clear. And this game's pretty much done. It's far too hard for Bunyip now, and Nana Goon will win 2 in a row. It seems like that at least. Over to you, Dylan.
Yeah, it's been one-way traffic since the opening minutes where Bunyip, they were leading at 8-0. And since then, it's Nana Goon who have put on 25 scoring shots to 5 from Bunyip. And if they had kicked straight, well, it would be worse. And they're just exacerbating the situation now for Bunyip. Nana Goon will look to inflict more pain for percentage and remain with the 3 ahead of them. And also on their tail. So there is the ball up. No one really got a major chunk of the footy. And now at ground level, just sticking the toe at it, Allen, and it works. It falls into the lap of his teammates who on the left enters the inside 50. May still be alive for Bunyip, but it's rushed over the line for Nana Goon. Forward pocket. Throw in 8 minutes left. 8 minutes past in the fourth quarter. It's been a magnificent outing from the Goon as Parker rises to tap it down to his teammates, and now just barreling on through was Bettio to the outer side. Telegraphed the hand pass to Pipicelli for his teammates, who kicks with length, and the mark is roped in. Now to the left, on short if he likes. He just chips it up to the lead of his forward up there, but the defence did well to impede. Papley in the back line, through the centre. Twirling through, able to break it up. And this kick going to centre half forward. Mark comfortably taken. Mitchell Humphrey, who's kicked one today, and now he sets up the framework with the kick. And the lace out hits his teammates, who can have a shot about 20 metres out. Jake Smith.
Sorry, you go, Dill.
Yet to impact the scoreboard today, but he had 15 goals through 10 games last year. Just 2 goals through 10 games last year, so he has potential. And this year he's played more of a midfield forward role. But it'll be good to see him back on the scoreboard. And he kicks another for the Goon, who increased their lead to 53.
And I was just going to say, Dill, that I reckon the Humphreys have been just about the 2 best players on the field. I know Brad went off with an injury. He was heavily concussed. But, yeah, it's just been a great outing by both Mitch and Matthew, and they're probably fighting for votes. I know Matthew definitely has one, and Mitch would be in the conversation. Of course, don't miss that in our post-game show where we'll be discussing a goal goal and mark of the day, plus best on ground for our two commentators in Dylan Beaumont and Bailey Allen. So here's Cooper Purcell.
Range heavier.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten heavier in the last 30 seconds or so. Tackled was Trigg. Advantage paid, moving through the middle, trying to move with a little bit of flair, the Bulldogs, but it's turned over right in the middle of the ground. That's dangerous. They get it back though. Now Galash. Almost marked by Quirk. Bit of a set of drops there. It's punched out nicely by a Goon teammate. And Penny goes again. He is relentless around the footy when his opposition has the Sharon. It's been like it all game, and he's been simply brilliant with his defensive pressure. So starting to get a bit heavy, the rain now. Once again, haven't seen it this heavy since probably about half time. The ball goes to ground. Free kick, holding.
Yeah, it'll be Alex McMillan's.
Yeah,
he might have disguised it well, but I think it was there. He definitely made it look worse. But
I was a bit confused on who that was going towards, but yeah, no, McMillan will get the set shot to perhaps make the scoreboard look just a little bit more healthy. McMillan on a bit of an angle, low kick, and he'll miss.
yeah, probably typifies their day.
Yeah, just didn't look like a clean kick off the boot at all. Really low, and kicked it pretty straight where he needed to more or so hook it to the right. So we'll have a kick out for the Goon, something we haven't seen too much today considering it's been up there out of the ground most of the day. Ball slips off the boot of a Bulldog. Parker applied the pressure, and the Bulldogs trying to find the line here, but Humphrey, how is the class? Crashes the two Bulldogs into each other and evades all collision. High free kick.
Yes,
And
so Dylan Galash and Curtis Chenkin, they ran into each other after Humphrey. It's quite cunning there on the boundary line. And now Nana Goon through Trigg to half forward. Might have been ill-directed, but it falls in the hands of Anthony Young. Plays on, gave it off. His teammate couldn't quite compose something, and now they'll look to, but it's a throw. And it's Bunyip's ball at centre half back. Jogging off his line. Thurring now. It sails to centre half forward. Just lunging at it was Morgan Morris. Haven't said his name a lot today. And in defence, they'll clear it again and depart to the wing. Left half back. And inside the middle of the ground, O'Sullivan switches it. It had to bounce, but of course it's tough to bounce in these conditions. Trigg hit after he released the kick to right half forward. Hampered with Nana Goon. Plenty of Bulldog jumpers around this footy at right half forward. 52 points to lead for Nana Goon, nearly 14 minutes in. And they'll just look to consolidate this lead as a big leap from Trigg again. Out of the pack, it bounced extremely low, and now a 2-on-2. Soccering it to vacant space out on the wing.
insufficient attempt.
The umpire will say insufficient intent. It is. Wow. Tex Marsham will receive the free kick. Has Kelly on short, places it there. Now Marsham can run by if he likes, but seems content with just staying there for the moment. Kelly gives it a fair roost. And it all amounts to nothing because Bunyip in defence. They can lead out of there with Xavier Kinder, who gave it off to Papley, who's dashing through, used his attributes to speed past, to half forward, juggling once, twice, not quite reeled in from Blackwood. And now a boundary throw-in.
So 14, nearly 15 minutes in to this final term. The Goon have just been on top pretty much all day other than that. Early days in the first term. Bunyip haven't been terrible, but just won't match the class of the Goon today. The ball spills out. Papley He has just played hard all day, and there's been nothing to fault him on whatsoever. He's just been in and around the footy heaps and plays just like his brother. He's always chasing and attacking for the footy. So that's a good lead there by what looks to be Yowley. It was actually Homfrey. Kicks it over the top of his target.
Oh.
And player bumped off the ball there. And they're just going to have to keep on soccering it here, but won't do enough to protect it from the Goon. So Purcell, he's played a pretty good game today. He should be included in the side next week. And a mark taken by Hughes, who's had a tough day along with the rest of his backline group down there. Have allowed 81 points to go through. Score could have been much larger if it wasn't for some inaccuracy from Nana Goon. The boundary throw in. Ball punched, will end up with Bunyip. Now they just move calmly and try to prepare to leave inside 50. They're pressured again though. And a stoppage just on the arc of Nana Goon's forward 50. So tap by Trigg to Bunyip's advantage.
Good leverage
long,
on the
high
kick.
Yeah,
Jeez.
exactly right. Del just went long and went high. And another boundary throw in after
It'll be a free kick, I think.
a free kick.
Yep, going the way of Bunyip.
Oh, well, it was a very big kick from Kelly, and it'll go towards Nana Goon in the end. So he's just going to run off the mark here. Not a bad look.
Yeah.
Never mind.
He's hooked it too far. You could see Tom Papley. He thought he convinced me it was Bunyip's free kick. Sorry, not Tom Papley, William Papley.
Will Papley.
But he was just like his brother Tom, waiting, hoping to be given the free kick. And this has gone out in the full. So 17 and a half minutes in. It's Nana Goon still with a 53-point lead. And Bunyip from defence. So it did just get through for a minor score. Plenty of altitude in the kick. Almost punched away by Noy. And a big tackle laid. Play on is the call. So the hand passes work again. Small contribution by the tackle of O'Sullivan. And now Bunyip. They can go forward. Just wrestling out of there. Parker attempted to, but he was wrapped up in the Daniel Helmore tackle. Centre wing. 4-5 to 11-16 on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard, and almost losing the footing again. Ball was still there to be won, and it wasn't. So we should have another ball up. Strong tap down from Marsham, who doesn't have a clean jumper anymore, and went with the second effort, and now he certainly won't. He's on the bottom of that pack. Plenty of tackles being laid.
I tell you what, Del, those Samsung washing machines are going to be running all night.
I think mine might have to as well.
Yeah, you're a bit muddy yourself. Yeah, I'm in my work gear, and my shoes are, they're pretty muddy. Luckily, they're black, unlike yours.
Yeah. Not the smartest decision. Marsham, his decision was a little smarter. He tapped it down, but there to intervene were all the Bunyip midfielders in the thick of things and just weaving through traffic, eventually brought to ground. Bit of a reality check. It's holding the ball. Homfrey through the centre, streaming forward are the numbers for Nana Goon. They might have to go the other way as Bunyip are given the free kick. Across the back line, Thuring has McMillan at the wing. And he will eventually head in that direction. Might have taken a little long in the end. Dykstra. And again, McMillan is over the top. He avoids him, goes a little longer. And it's cut off by Hughes. Tried to fool the man on the mark. not the most competent kick. It's cut off again, and Bunyip, they'll switch it through the middle. Presenting up high, couldn't quite take the mark, but he was able to get the footy. Backwards hand pass in order to go forward. Wasn't touched. McLeod. He goes extremely wide to Thuring, who now approaches the 50. Kicks inside. Parker had his name written all over it, and he was wearing his opponent Gallish like a glove. Out of the back pockets. Refused to accept his fate, but it'll come back. Thuring giving it off. And now Gallish again. Did he dispose of it? Umpire thought so. Thuring. Another hand pass over the top. They just wheel this through the defensive end to Nana Goon. They've played it extremely well. Kelly, that's more of a dangerous hand pass. Gallish couldn't quite connect by boot. And it'll be Nana Goon's ball in the left back pocket. Dean Kelly to exit. Bailey Allen to call.
So, Kelly deep inside Bunyip's 450, just trying to get, I guess, a little bit of percentage back in their favour. So, a block. And Marsham to receive the footy. Probably wants to go down the wing. In fact, he will. So, just long high kick. A mark almost taken there by O'Halloran, but the ball's brought to ground. So, once again, another stoppage. We're into time on now, so not much left in this one. Nana Goon going to get away with the 4 points today in a healthy win.
That's the pickup by Armour.
Armour clean in the mud. Penny, he's been hard hitting all day. Pretty accurate kick, but just didn't have the run from his teammate. Penny receives it again though, and now he can use those little legs. Runs. Almost turned it over, but it was a good defensive effort there by Yowler.
Clean in the mud.
Yorny.
Quite the dichotomy there, Bass. Good call.
What was that?
Clean in the mud.
Oh, yeah. It's Yorny. Yeah, went a bit above the shoulder there, and he's gone quiet in since the start of the game. Kicked a couple, but hasn't done much since. Not a terrible result, though. Still most definitely going to get the 4 points. They're fighting for the footy here. Ball back in Bunyip's end of the grounds. Look at the run from the Bunyip Bulldogs. They're still not willing to give up. And Heath Morgan-Morris gets it over the line, and a little bit more of push and shove against Flynn Parker.
he definitely likes to start something, doesn't he, Flynn Parker?
Yeah, he's been getting into them all day, has Parker.
Almost 23 and a half minutes in. Nana Goon still with this 53-point lead. And at ground level, numbers quite equal. It's a bit of a cluster over there at the wing as Thuring loses his footing. And it still stays in. They straddle the line. Hand pass across. Herman, but there is the siren. And it's the boys from Nana Goon who were too good all day. They were tested in the opening minutes. And from that point, really, they just had an enormous wave overcome this Bunyip side who are now 5 and 8. It's a 53-point victory, 11-16, 82 to 4-5-29. We'll have a look at the ladder and what the ramifications are for Bunyip at the moment and how this is successful for Nana Goon, who are now 10 and 3. They were 4th on the ladder as we move and transition to our post-game show. And to begin things off, Baz, we'll start with the Fused by King G mark of the day. But just before we do, overall thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Bunyip didn't play terrible, but at the end of the day, Nana Goon were just the ones that were cleaner with the footy. And just for example, you had Chris Thuring for the Bulldogs. I reckon, not to be harsh, but I reckon every time he got the footy and went for a kick, he turned it over. So that was most of the Bulldogs side all game. So they were just cleaner with the footy, Nana Goon, and that's why they were able to re-enter inside 50 and easy with kicking goals. And if they weren't so inaccurate, this could have been a lot uglier.
Now, we'll hold off on the votes at the moment. But we will go to the Fused by King G mark of the day. Plenty to select from. I think I've got mine in mind, and I think I know which way you're heading as well, Baz.
Yeah, I go Cooper Purcell. He stretched out the hands down here in their 50, stretched out the arms, was pushed in the back and was still able to hold on to it with no chest support, and that was some great poise there from Purcell, so he'd be my choice.
I'll go with Jai Keith. It is the losing side, but there was, I don't remember exactly who, but a defender, or rather a forward coming straight at him, and in defence he slid to ground just to the right of screen, about 30 out from Nana Goon's goal. He comfortably took the mark, slid to his feet, and it was quite the elegant pickup as well to bounce back up on the feet. So I'll go with Jai Keith. Now to the King G Trade Comfort Max goal of the day. I'll go first this time just to make you a little different, because I had the luxury of calling Brandon Herman's goal. It was definitely unexpected, and I think I said it, he made the impossible possible. It defied all laws of physics, and we hope that Einstein is watching.
Yeah, look, I'd like to go that as well. That would be my choice, but we'll go different just for the sake of it. Trent Noy for Nana Goon. It was almost at the very start of the game. I was calling that one, and he looked so unconfident going for that set shot from about 50 out, and he had plenty of forwards moving towards him, screaming for the footy, and he went, you know what, I'm going to go back and try slot it, and it was very close to not going through, but yeah, with almost no momentum on his side, the kick was just booming enough, and he got it across the line. That was great from Trent Noy.
Now to the heavily anticipated votes, Baz. 1 vote, 2 vote, 3 votes.
Ooh, 1 vote. There were probably many who could have competed for it, but I'm going to go JJ Penny. He was really intense around the footy all day. He didn't get a ton of it, but what I liked was his defensive pressure in and around the contest. He laid a couple really hard-hitting tackles and was just a stopper whenever Bunyip tried to move forward with any sort of composure. For 2 votes, I would go Will Papley. Bunyip were at their best when he was. He simply moved the ball so cleanly through the middle whenever he got the ball, and Bunyip found it a lot easier to go inside 50 when he had the footy in his hand. So he was really impactful, but no, I'm not going to look past Matthew Homfrey for 3 votes. Got plenty of the footy. Kicked a couple of goals as well, at least one, I believe, and just had an excellent day out here at Bunyip for Nana Goon. So Matthew Homfrey takes the 3 votes for me.
I'll give my 1 vote to Trent Armour for Nana Goon. 2 votes, I'll go with William Papley as well. He was definitely the shining light in the losing side today. And 3 votes, as you mentioned, Matthew Homfrey. He had a contender for mark of the day, but he just did everything well. There wasn't a lot to fault. He was quite accurate and efficient with his kicking, and I think rightly so. That gives him man of the match. Now, before we conclude proceedings today, we'll go around the grounds one last time. Daleston, Cooey Rupp, and Inverloch versus Corumburra Beano. We still are unable to get scores for, but over at Garfield, Warragul Industrials lead them 96-34. Phillip Island on their home turf, they have defeated Coralin by 59 points, 102-43, and Turin and Dalmore 106 against Kilcunda Bass 32, who we called the last game for. They were victorious there. But it's now to the ladder. As we know, Nana Goon have won today, and if Inverloch Kongwak lose, they will be equal with them on the ladder. They're still 4 points ahead of Warragul Industrials. And for Bunyip, they're still ahead of Kilcunda Bass in 7th. Cooey Rupp will have to wait for the results on their behalf. And if they do win, they will be in 7th place where Bunyip were before this game. So definitely a large loss for Bunyip, who are 3 games outside finals, and it probably will write their season off. But Nana Goon are very much alive, and as we near the season's end, this is where you want your best form to emerge.
Yeah, exactly. And Nana Goon have now had 2 pretty big wins on the run, so they'll have some momentum going into finals. And yeah, the other sides like Turin they've had momentum all year, haven't lost a game. And Phillip Island, I know that they'll still probably be a little bit rattled by their loss, their heavy loss to Tooran about a month or so ago. But you know, they're back-to-back premiers, so I'm sure they will still come into finals guns blazing as well.
Now we'll be at Inverloch Congwack next week. They'll play Turin and Dalmore. And now that is certainly an interesting clash. 1 versus 3 at the moment on the ladder. It should stay that way. We'll have some attractive scenery down there at the beach side near the ocean. And, well, we'll give our predictions on the day. But if Inverloch continue their form, against the top sides, they've been within 20 to 30 points. And Turin, well, they're unbeaten, which basically shows that they're the force that everyone needs to stop. But hope you enjoyed today. It's Nana Goon who run out victors against Bunyip at Bunyip on their home turf. They upset all the crowd, really. They were slowly making their way out. But again, we hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next week at Inverloch. Take it easy for the weekend.